There's a dark side.
It didn't have to happen. They should have made it home. They should have made it home safe.
Anthony loved Mallory, and Anthony knew how much Mallory loved him.
Paul was out of his mind drunk.
We had all made it a point to say to him, you need to let Connor drive or you need to let Anthony drive, but he wouldn't listen to anybody.
Everyone was like, Paul, don't drive, and Paul would snap back and be like, well, this is my fucking boat, and I know this river, and you're not driving my boat.
The boat was just, steady making circles. We were just round and round, zigzagging, arguing, everybody's mad.
He would just leave the wheel unattended. Connor would have to come up and grab it.
All I could hear was screaming, and then the bow of the boat stood up. I heard a scream, and then a bang.
Everything was going crazy. People were screaming.
As soon as I got on the bank, Molly came running straight up to me and asked, where's Mallory?
And then that's when we all started screaming for Mallory.
So you fucking smiling like a fucking funny. My fucking girlfriend goes, folks.
5 made it ashore alive. 19-year-old Mallory Beach did not.
You all know Alec Murdoch? Oh, yeah, I know his name. That's his son. Good luck.
Controversy for many isn't just about the crash itself, but why Murdaugh hasn't been booked into jail.
This was a family that you didn't want to mess with. They could have something swept under the rug and no one would ever know about it.
Paul Murdaugh observed driving, grossly intoxicated.
Some in the community questioning if the family used their connections to protect Paul.
He wanted to make sure that lips were sealed.
It does say in the Old Testament, an eye for an eye. I think Paul was afraid.
The boy I dated for 4 years was murdered. I mean, this is scary. How did so many people lose their lives?
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency?
I see somebody laying out. Yeah, you in the road.
Why did he not kill me too?
Everybody has a skeleton in the closet. I'm thinking a skeleton in the closet. What the hell's he talking about?
I did hear name.
She was like, you never believe who did it.
I was bleeding. I cannot get her up.
Do you guys know who she is? Man, can you stop asking her to go?
5 bodies in 6 years tagged to this family. That is absolutely frightening.
Still no sign of a teenager thrown overboard. The boat she and 5 friends were riding on hit a piling Archer's Creek. 19-year-old Mallory Beach hasn't been seen since 2 Sunday mornings. Meanwhile, dozens of family members and friends have been standing by hoping for a miracle.
Where's Mal? Lily, where's Mal? Where's Mal? Your ear don't hit. Where's Mal?
And my name is Mallory. I'm going to play softball and play with her friends.
I met Mallory when we were kids. My sister and her sister were best friends, and even if we didn't like it, we were kind of stuck together,
They go to church with us they would carry them to Sunday school. Anthony's dad built my first house.
Mallory was about 3 or 4 years old and jumping on a trampoline while we were trying to work.
I'd honestly say me and Mallory were probably best friends before we were anything,
He was always scared of her. He was scared to date her because she was intimidating to him.
She brought out a side of him that we had not seen in a long time.
I was, a little bit of a partier. When I finally changed all that and settled down, it really did make me happy. As we got older, we both knew that we wanted to be together.
They started dating New Year's. She was like, oh my gosh, finally. She loved him so much. I mean, it's Mallory. How can you get any better than her?
My friends are
Mallory's my best friend since pre-K. She came up to me and told me I was pretty, and the rest is history. I was just this little shy girl. She was this little fireball, just talking nonstop. And Morgan, she came later in life. Once we got to know Morgan, we just started to hang out a lot more. We became really close.
The first time I met Mallory, we had gone to a party. Mallory came right up to me and she complimented my shoes, so I knew we were going to be really good friends after that. Morgan, Miley, and Mallory, we are all M's. We all have really big personalities, and so like they all kind of just mesh into like one, and we like feed off of each other. The girls are really good friends, and then so are the boys.
Connor's my cousin. That's been my best friend since I can remember. You know, if I was hanging out with Connor, I was hanging out with Miley and Mallory.
How are you supposed to do that? I don't know. It just worked out perfectly. I was dating Connor, Mallory was dating Anthony, and Morgan was dating Paul.
I felt like an outsider whenever I started high school. And that's where I met Paul. He was in my history class. Like our energies kind of matched. We would just have fun, just the two of us, and we would just goof around. So I think it was his playful personality that brought me into him at first. We started dating my junior year.
Paul had never had a girlfriend. I think I probably got on her nerves a little bit because I showed up so much. There was a few times where she was like, I wish this stupid joker would go home, you know? Like, I was always intruding. I liked Morgan, and they loved each other, and I was happy for them. I've known Paul since I was a kid. We did from A to Z together, hunting, fishing. I love being around Paul, and Morgan, I'm sure she fell in love with his personality fast. Just as funny of a person as you'll ever meet.
Paul was always there, like Valentine's Day or birthdays and everything else with gifts.
Banners for the prom, and things he would do. It was like, he was this wonderful young man.
We're dating. You want your families to mingle, but like my family wasn't from around here.
We're both from Long Island.
I'm a nurse in a prison.
I'm a landscape architect and designer.
We keep to ourselves. We all work and just do our thing. I had no idea who he was.
Hampton County is a beautiful, wonderful part of South Carolina. Nobody ever comes here unless you are from here. Everybody knows everybody. And everybody knows who the Murdaughs are. Because the Murdaugh family run the biggest law firm in town.
The Murdaugh family has been around Hampton County for years. It all started with Paul's great-great-granddad, Randolph Murdaugh Sr., and then it went to Randolph's son, Lester Murdaugh, and finally it went to Randolph Murdaugh, Paul's granddad. All of them had a law firm together, and then they served as solicitors.
A solicitor is basically a lead prosecutor or district attorney. And so for over a century, the Murdaughs were law and order here in the 14th Circuit. They ran both sides of the legal ledger, from civil cases to criminal cases. They had a network that varied from judges and lawyers to law enforcement to sheriffs to the average man on the street who served on the jury. They were the law in this area, and at times they were above the law.
My family and Paul's family came from a different class. They just came from two totally different worlds, I think. There was really no togetherness with our families. I love Paul, and I wanted to be what he wanted me to be, and I wanted to be what his family wanted me to be.
I mean, they took her to the Kentucky Derby. They took her to the Final Four of basketball. Deep sea fishing for marlin in Guatemala. So they were always going somewhere.
I'm taking by the house that Paul grew up in. Where is this? That's Randolph Murdaugh's house. So this first driveway is Paul's old driveway. Can't see it. It's a big house. We have private drive. They have multiple different houses. One example is Moselle. I think it's like 1,000 acres that are owned by Alec, and it's like on the outskirts of Hampton.
Moselle was my paradise. Me and Paul, we set catfish lines, hunting. I mean, you never got bored.
Paul was really big into hog hunting, so he had a bunch of dogs. They had a tractor shed where they keep like their equipment under. They had a skinning shed. They had multiple ponds. You know what country boys usually do. It's just pair it up and have fun. They had an airplane, so they had actually like a landing strip for the plane, and then the plane would land inside of the shed that had a door that opened up.
What was the landing strip for? The way Paul told us, it was for everything you could imagine. Drugs and strippers and everything. You can't believe everything Paul says neither, you know.
It's like massive playground for Paul. We were always there. Here's the law firm. Every year, Hampton County hosts a watermelon festival, and it's just a big gathering. They shut down the streets. They have vendors, food, and like drinks. But Alec always allowed us to go to the firm and sneak in the back door.
And so we'd go into Alex's office, and he always had handles of liquor that he would offer to us and the law firm partners' children. And when I say children, we were probably like around 16 to 14 years old. And that's the back entrance we would always go in. Yeah.
I didn't come from a family that drank a lot. Like, my dad would probably have a drink here and there, but never saw my parents drunk. And so whenever I came around the Murdaughs, like, it was very normal for them to be drinking and just have a lot of alcohol, like, always stocked in the house. But just for, like, Paul and I being the age that we were, like, they were okay with us drinking, and they would always get us alcohol, like, and that's when I really started to drink.
Alcohol definitely changed Paul in his manner, and
we called Paul Timmy when he was drunk. That's his name that Anthony Cook actually gave him.
It was just a random name, just for, just a different person, because he wasn't Paul anymore. Just, hey, that's Timmy.
He would go from being, like, sweet, and then, like, 2 drinks in, he'd be a completely different person.
what do you have to say for yourself?
3 meal fish rays, baby.
No. Give some quality life advice, Paul.
Alright. Get you a SC Wahoo series, folks. Because you don't stand a chance.
Okay.
SC Wahoo series.
Okay.
He would start doing some weird things with his hands, but the biggest thing I looked at is, like, his eyes. It was like he was looking through you, But all it was he was trying his best to understand what you're saying, because he's so drunk that he can't really function. People would say, oh, he looks scary, you know what I'm saying? He looks like he's about to kill me. No, he's just trying to understand you. One thing a lot of people know about Paul is he liked attention. And I think that was where that drinking part came from.
Something troubled him enough to make him drink the way he drank. You drink like that to escape something.
Now, you do wonder with Paul, did he truly know that drinking as much was bad? Did he truly know that there really are consequences when you do something? Because maybe he didn't. I don't know. Morgan said that a couple times she would try to tell his mom, Maggie, about how Paul would be drinking too much, and she would kind of just blow it off.
His family just looked the other way and thought it was funny, and that would have put such a blemish on the family. They didn't want to choose that option and say, let me send him to a rehab.
I felt like Maggie as a mother, she wasn't as loving onto Paul as she was on Buster, and I feel like she was a very detached mother from Paul. Buster is Paul's older brother.
Richard Alexander Murdaugh, Jr.
Buster went to Wofford. He graduated. Perfect. Maggie loved it. He was in a fraternity. She ate it up. He went to law school, and she was over the freaking moon. Buster wanted the life that his father had. He wanted to be a big-name lawyer. He wanted to have the wealth and the power. He was following his father's footsteps. Paul never really wanted to be a lawyer. Paul was more like the black sheep of his family. And I think that his parents thought that he was a disappointment. For Paul, the acceptance and the love came from Miss Gloria. She worked for Randolph and Libby for years, and that's why Alec and Maggie had her start working for them. I see Gloria as being Paul's second mom, and she basically raised Paul. She was with him from the time he was like 2. Paul really clung to her because Gloria gave Paul what Maggie didn't.
Miss Gloria is one of the best ladies you'll ever meet. She took care of Paul like no family member ever did. Miss Gloria would have walked off the end of the moon for Paul Murdaugh.
Paul loved Gloria, and actually, I don't remember him having a picture of anybody in his wallet, but he had a picture of Gloria in his wallet.
But when Paul started getting older, that's when his reckless behavior became much worse, and he was always getting in trouble. Paul confided in his grandfather, Randolph, so much. Anytime Paul got into any trouble, he would call his granddad. And from there, like, Randolph called Alec, and then they'd come up with a storyline, basically. When I tell you it was like, you snap your fingers and it was gone, that's how it was. Obviously, yes, I was dating him, but I knew he was a troublemaker. And it kind of made some people worried and weary of Paul coming around. Mallory and Paul were friends. Like, they got along really well. Like, not really well, but, like, they got along. It was almost kind of like that she tolerated Paul. Mallory hated Paul. It wasn't really like a friendship.
At the beginning, I was like, oh, Morgan likes him, so, like, obviously there's something to like about him. But at the same time, this is not, like, someone that I think that, first of all, should be dating one of my best friends. Second of all, he should be, like, hanging around whenever he's this intoxicated, because it's not only dangerous for him, it's dangerous for us.
I remember one time, we were coming home from this Christmas party, and we got in the truck, and he told me I needed to get out the driver's seat, and I was like, why? He's like, I'm driving. And we got in this huge fight, and Paul was being really aggressive about it. And at first, he was driving like it was going to be okay, and that we'd make it home safely. and on that turn, Paul lost control and wrecked us into a ditch. The truck was like sideways. He had so many guns in his car, so like guns were everywhere, beer cans were everywhere. So I dial 911 and Paul hangs it up and throws my phone, and Paul calls Randolph. He tells him exactly where we're at, and then he calls his dad, and then Randolph, Alec, and Maggie showed up. Before they even checked on us, they opened the back of the truck and they took out all the guns. And they cleared the bed of the truck and the floors of all these beer cans. And I'm like, are you kidding? And they're like, did you call 911? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, why did you do that? They kept trying to talk to me and like tell me that like I didn't need to call 911 because I could have gotten their son in trouble. We could have been dead, but you know, nothing came of it.
It was a kind of a strange relationship. It wasn't normal in the way that they fought with each other. It was very uncomfortable for like other people to witness. He would just break up with her, you know, for the weekend and get back together with her and things like that. They were just like nothing that you would want anybody that's close to you or that you love to go through. Me and Mallory were both like, you need to be done. And then like we'd convince her that she was, and then for some reason it was like she would always go back, and it was very frustrating to see her do that as one of her best friends.
I think that our relationship is just something that like I really clung to, just because when it was good, it was really good. But when it was bad, it was really bad. Our relationship had gotten like really physical, and then I broke up with him, but then Paul would just do and say anything to make up for what had happened. I'm sorry. And so like I knew that like, and just being like a young 16, 17-year-old girl, like, I don't know. You have this just like picture of just like a relationship in your head, and I just feel like I looked past it because what I really
Oh, come on. Oh, no, 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 no.
Paul was over the top. We ran to the corner and I could hear Mr. Randolph and Ellis, but I do remember Randolph Murdoch saying, "No, you cannot interview him now. He's drunker than Cooter Brown."
Oh my god.
When they leave the oyster roaster, we have Paul's phone records. And Paul calls first his father, appears to have not answered. And then he calls his mother, Paul and Maggie, have about a 5-minute conversation. Paul's blood alcohol is 3. It's out of control. Ever see Mallory smiling, she's happy, she's in the prime of her life, which is about an hour from being over. Paul won't let anybody else go. He spits on or calls her a fucking word. He walks back to his room, he slams the door down.
Alex and Maggie walked in. Alex says, "Hey, Michael, how you doing?" He's in a courtroom, and your son's about to be arraigned on felony charges. And it was like we were at his daddy's hunting camp, about to mix a drink or fry a fish or something.
Special treatment.
assassination next year occurred down in Long Driveway.
No. Yes. That were close. Oh man. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the chat. Yeah, it's going good. Managed to get 2 3-stars on the 200cc. Two left to get Golden Mario. Great, just the Rainbow Road now. Ooh, I fucking hate Rainbow Road. It's one of those really square ones as well. Actually, is this one not too hard? It's not the one I was thinking of. Yes! Yes, 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 we did it. One left, one left. Gotta get with that gold Mario. I've got credits.
Mario Kart 8!
Huh? I thought I needed 3 stars and everything. Maybe I just needed stars. Hmm. Oh, I did it! Oh. Okay, let's do the new maps. Let's try this one. It's Ninja Hideaway maps, fucking horrible. Why does it feel slow? Am I in 50cc or something? He's definitely 50cc. Look how far ahead I am. Yeah. I did miss Stara. Yeah, this is that Rainbow Road that it's not keen on. Is that it? Fucking hell. Da, 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 da.
A similar line when it comes to people like Fuentes, or you're not sure, or do you feel...
I wouldn't talk to a guy like that. It's wasting time. If you're going to expose his idiocy in front of all his followers, then, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that somebody like Fuentes, because they're illiberal, is somebody that has like a fundamental incompatibility with my belief system. I mean, like your dad said, I think everything should be argued and debated. I think it's fine to debate like fascism or communism or whatever, because you should be able to defend liberal ideas. But I mean, it would be at some point.
What? That's not true. Who told you that?
I don't believe you.
No, okay, wait, no, I'm defending myself right here.
How's it going?
Hey, listen. First of all, many thanks for being a friend to my daughter.
Yeah, no problem.
She doesn't have any friends.
That's not true. You're
No,
so
Oh,
she has a
mean.
shit ton of friends.
Okay.
But she appreciates your friendship.
Cool.
And I appreciate that. that you are friends.
Thanks. Well, I try my best. I'm a friendly person, you know.
Even though I'm a libtard.
No, that you helped him get those signatures. So what were you doing? You were canvassing.
We're canvassing, yeah.
Enjoyed it. I'm just kidding. I like to joke a lot, and my sense of humor oftentimes pisses people off or they don't understand it.
Yeah, you're good. Don't
But,
worry. You're in good
you know,
company.
I'm not losing any sleep over that.
No.
So,
all right. Well, what are we chatting about today?
I don't know. Andy just told me that she would like for me to tell you my view on centrism.
Yeah, what the center is
What
to
the
you.
what the center is.
We strongly disagree with this.
And I a long time ago I was thinking, well, you know, about this subject. So I figured, well, the thing that you got to hold on to something, or you got to have a belief, right? And then part from there. So with regards to where we live, you know, assuming we're in the U.S., we grew up here and everything. So basically, what sets the center, what establishes the rules, is what sets the center, I guess. So I say, well, the U.S. Constitution is a document that basically sets the rules of how we're going to live here, and you know what we can and what we cannot do.
Okay.
So I think it's a brilliant document. It's been misused on
Boomer
both sides.
truth.
But when you boil down, when you strip down all the major issues.
Yeah, when you strip it down, you realize the document. No, sorry. Oh my god, I don't know how you got here. My bad. Okay, sorry.
You got somebody invading.
No, don't worry, he's muted. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Repeat what you were saying.
Right. So when
Yeah,
you
sorry,
strip it, when you strip it down, you know, all the major issues, let's say for example slavery, you see that the Constitution really doesn't allow it. So somebody gave that example last time I was here talking with Andy, with Dixie. You say, well, you know, the people that were pro-slavery were centrist at that time, so it doesn't really apply. But my point was no, because they were not really following the Constitution.
I mean, that's kind of I mean, I feel like when we say following the Constitution, isn't that kind of up to the subjective interpretations of whatever the Supreme Court is at that particular point in time? Isn't that what Marbury versus Madison kind of settled, was the Supreme Court is the ultimate interpreter of the Constitution?
Yeah, and then we get into judging or making judgment over things that happened many years ago, and we've certainly gotten better through the years, and we can take a look back and say they were wrong at the time. So I think that's another discussion there with what is being done today, that they condemn and they
okay, talk slow and I'm listening on 2x speed. What's going on?
Labeling these people as evil people because they did not make the right decision back then. But it's sketchy and iffy. I don't agree with that because we weren't there. It's a different way of thinking back then. So I basically say, well, they read it wrong and they were wrong about it, and thankfully we were able to fix it. But expanding on the subject, the centrism, my biggest beef with when Bixie talks about it and some other people, it's like, hey, I consider myself slightly right of center, and I have views and they're said and everything, and I believe them and whatever. But then, if you or Bixie, for example, she goes way to the left. Then she looks at me and she's like, "Oh, you're super to the right." It's like, no, you moved way to the left. You don't get to take the center with you. I'm here at the center. I haven't changed anything. You're the one that moved way to the left. So in that sense, the center stays. The fact that you moved way to the left doesn't mean anything. It means that you're further away from the center. And it's an argument that a lot of people use. I think, I don't know if on purpose or not, but a lot of people use it to justify that they're really not that far left because they're bringing the center with them. And then all of a sudden, I haven't done anything, and I am considered far right. It's like, no, hang on. Far right is crazy, and I'm not there. I'm just right of center here. Nothing has changed. You're the one that's moved way to the left. So that's basically it. That's my position on centrism.
Gotcha. I don't know if I care that much about defining centrist, just because there's not much value that comes out of like in a conversation. If I'm arguing some positions, I think I would just argue like what are we talking about rather than are you centrist or not? I think people have problems with the word centrist for a variety of reasons. One, as you correctly pointed out, is because some people use like the some people use there's an expression called the Overton window, which just means like.
Here's why it's meaningless, because you can't have both positions. Leftists believe in equality, right-wing people believe in hierarchy. These two positions are mutually exclusive. You can't have both of them. There's no center to be had. It doesn't make sense. It's not like there's a spectrum and some people are more left-wing and right-wing. It's like there is a fundamental difference between being right and left. For some reason, people think... we're just drowning in so much leftist thought nowadays that it's all about degree now. So it's not about fundamental differences of viewing the world, which is what it should be. Everyone pretty much agrees that everyone should be equal and have equal rights, but what if that's not the best thing? That's what being right is that, we should have hierarchies. Like, me winning this game is a hierarchy. I want to win the game. I don't want everyone to come first. I don't want the blue shell to come and get me because I'm winning, because I'm better at the game than the computer is. Like, we believe in hierarchies. I'm right-wing with regards to playing this game. I care about winning the game. I want there to be a hierarchy. I want to get points for winning, and I want to get a trophy at the end. That's what right-wing is. It's competition. It's hierarchy. It's making things into, being able to distinguish what is better and worse. Equality is the opposite of that. That's why I'm not a leftist.
How far left or right of your politics
or,
in general.
Or a
I think some
centrist.
people use the term centrist to try to...
What do centrists say? Oh, well, I'm right wing on some things. I'm left wing on some things. Right? Oh, great, but how should our politics be arranged? When we're talking about right versus left in a political things, we're talking about how should society be organized? Should it be society be organized where everyone has the exact same, opportunities? It's like, well, to have everyone have the same opportunities would require so much energy that we wouldn't be able to do it. So can we just, focus on not needlessly putting up barriers for people where based on their characteristics? That's not about quality. That's just about, not getting out of people's way and allowing people to become the best version of themselves. And making everyone equal doesn't do that. It makes everyone the same, which would be, to my mind, hell.
Basically bully people and saying look how far left you are, look how far right you are.
Yeah.
But I think in another perspective, I think one problem is a lot of people use quote unquote centrism to hide their beliefs too. There's a lot of people that call themselves centrists. They're really just conservatives. So it's I'm a centrist. And then when you figure out what their beliefs are, they're like, yeah, I'm a centrist, but I'm anti-LGBT. I voted for Trump. I hate all Democrats. And it's like, okay, you're just
never heard a centrist say that.
If you call yourself a centrist, you're above political partisanry.
What centrists are saying shit like that?
Like a virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Can you hold on a second, Andy? Put on speaker so we can
No
hear.
tengo speaker, pero what I can do is I can
Just Andy can't hear you. I want to.
I can play it on my phone. So what were you saying?
Destiny. Yeah.
Yeah, just like sometimes people use centrist to bully people out of political positions. Sometimes people use centrist to virtue signal. They're like, oh, like I'm not partisan, I'm a centrist. And then I think, yeah, I think centrist is more kind of like a tool that people use to like fight with people rather than like engage in any like real legitimate discourse. That's what it feels like to me.
Because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're both, you're trying to define your where you stand in the most basic way.
Sure, but even defining where you stand, I think it's better to just like, what are the policy positions? Because if somebody says, for instance, like, I'm a centrist, it doesn't really communicate anything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. But yeah, I mean, it's just I know what you're trying to say, or you're saying. And yes, talking about centrism like that in general terms doesn't mean much. And when you start talking about it and defining it, I can see how it can turn into virtue signaling and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Andy, we covered that.
Well, what is
What
it?
do you want to know?
Well, I don't think you're right when you talk about centrism being defined by like the Constitution. To me, that doesn't really make much sense. It seems like the center is defined by like both opposite ends, like what's in the middle of there, or that becomes the center. I don't understand why the Constitution is the center.
So I see it as a like the rules of the game.
I think the problem is that like the Constitution provides for very far left and very far right people, right? Technically, we can exist under the Constitution and do things that are both far right and far left. So I think that's kind of why we're using the Constitution as a barometer for centrism. I think for centrism, I would just define centrism as like if we do an aggregate polling of all of Americans and we look at what their opinions are, we try to find stuff that's like roughly in the middle. So like a centrist opinion on abortion might be like allowing people to have abortions in the first trimester only, right? I think that like 90% of Americans I think are okay with that. But having abortions all the way to the third trimester, that's a very far left position. Or banning abortion completely or only leaving it up to the states is a pretty far right position. So like I can find like a center-ish position on that. Same things with like gun control and trade and other things. We define like kind of center positions that align with the majority of American opinions. I think that's why I personally would define like the center.
Yeah.
But you don't agree with that.
No, I agree to a certain extent. And
Well, what does that mean? Oh, I'm just going to poll people, and whatever the average is the center. Again, like that person doesn't exist. People are individuals. There's no fucking average person.
I mean, and to Destiny's point, if you're going to argue about abortion, it's useless to talk about the center of abortion. Because it doesn't really mean anything.
Well, I guess the reason why I think the center is important to define is because I think the center, like, nobody wants to live in the center ideologically because people don't generally see themselves that way. They want to be part of a political camp. But I think the center part is important to define for legislation purposes, right? You're probably not going to pass any far left or far right legislation. It's unlikely that we're going to get protection for all abortion, like federally in the United States. It's probably not going to happen. But we might be able to pass legislation that allows abortion through the first trimester because that aligns with like the majority of where Americans are kind of okay on abortion. So I think that's why defining the center is important for legislative success.
I think too that it's a pity that the way discourse has been the last year, couple decades, I think, in the U.S. We really can't talk about abortion without either side being like heels to the ground and like, no, we're not moving for this, and you're fucking insane for thinking what you think.
Yeah, I agree, but I think part of the reason why is because people refuse to define like where the center position is. Like you've got people on the left that are defending like infinite abortions through the third trimester, which is ridiculous, I think. And then you got Republicans saying like all abortion should be banned, like except in cases of rape, which I don't even know how the fuck you would. I don't know how you even defend that in front of a doctor. Like you have to prove that you got raped. Like that just seems insane too. So I feel like yeah, I understand why the conversation is hard, but it feels like it's just hard because people are always like fighting for the most extreme position rather than figuring out like, okay, what would most of us agree on, so that we actually write a bill that most of us would want to pass. I think.
Out of curiosity, Destiny, where would you try, or around, I know you said first trimester, but what do you mean exactly by that?
Here's an easy one. You're allowed an abortion as long as you admit it's murder. Then everyone's happy. People get to murder, and people get to feel bad that people are being murdered, and they can pray for them. Easy.
Do you mean like at the end of 3 months? Do you mean heartbeat? Do you mean like brain activity?
No, I think first trimester abortion, I think brain activity. You can abort up to what is it, like 20 weeks or something, or 12 weeks or 12 to 16 weeks. I think like within this one. I think that's where like the vast majority of abortions happen anyway. Isn't like 95% of abortions or some insane number happen within the first trimester anyway? I think it would just be an easy. Yeah, I think it's easier to do that.
How do you believe it shouldn't be until or the heartbeat or whatever? Like 6
Well,
weeks?
my personal belief is they shouldn't have, except for extreme cases like incest and rape like that. But I'm totally bought into the notion that I can't force people into my belief, so I got to come to a compromise with the other side, so we can reach an agreement where neither side is fully content with the outcome, but they're happy to live with it.
But you believe
so that
in
means
6
that
weeks for like
no one's happy.
Like I said, I think the first trimester is something that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is it's hard because we want to feel like we're getting what we want morally 100%. But the reality is that in a democracy, especially around charged issues, we're like everybody's going to feel like they're getting a little bit screwed over. But that's probably a good thing. On some issues, like that's just the nature of living in a democracy where we're voting on really charged issues. You're not always going to get what you feel like is the best thing all the time. I feel like sometimes people think like, oh yeah, we're in a democracy, we need a diversity of opinion, but not really. They just want like a diversity of opinion around like should it be like $20 an hour minimum wage or like $25 an hour. Sometimes you have to compromise.
Destiny has this fucking habit, right, where he will pretend that he's arguing against something that someone said very aggressively, even though it's the completely what they just said anyway, like to sound smart, like, well actually, it's like, mate, literally just said that. Compromise. You're just saying compromise in more words.
Something you really don't want to compromise on. And I think it's hard to do, but it's necessary for the democracy to function.
I think that was the genius of the U.S., the formation of the U.S., that you had these people that, they all knew that they didn't want to be ruled by, by monarchy or anything like that. So they went and they said, okay, we don't see eye to eye, but we're going to set up a system where we're going to have to come together and find common ground and move forward from that. And if people get back to that, I think we would see a lot of progress in all aspects of society in the U.S. But people are freaking digging their heels and not wanting to move. So we're getting very polarized, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Yes, the answer
do you think
is
anything
more
that
democracy.
shouldn't be given up though? Like, do you have any
Yeah, of course. You're gonna ask like, oh, what about slavery or rape? Like, there should be things we have hard lines on. But I think abortion is one of those issues where it's like we've had Roe v. Wade for 60 years, and we're still hotly divided on it. And I don't think that abortion is as clear-cut an issue as like slavery or murder or rape. Like, there are gonna be some things that we shouldn't compromise on. There probably shouldn't be any types of like legal murder or anything like that. But when it comes to like abortion, it's just such a hotly contested issue that is so morally personal and difficult to like wade through. Like even philosophers are gonna go back and forth, right? And there have been tons of papers of people written back and forth in the arguments for it. That I think we're probably gonna have to realize there's gonna be some compromise. It's gonna make everybody a little bit upset on it.
Yeah.
I mean, like the modern day issues. I'm not talking about like slavery or whatever. I'm saying, do you think there's anything right now that people are debating that might not be, that maybe shouldn't be debated, or there should be clear lines on there?
Come again?
Are there any issues right now that people are talking about that you think there's no real room for like moral debate? That you think it should be just like this
I
one
think
thing?
everything should be debated.
Uh-huh.
Everything. That's a big problem that we're having now. That we have people wanting to shut up other people because they don't agree, and they say debate's over. I say,
Well-
listen, you gotta keep talking until you get to where you want to get.
I think it's good as a society to progress in some ways. Like I don't think we should be debating everything in society. Like for instance, I think we're probably past like child labor. Like I don't think like children that are like 6 years old should be working like coal mines. That's probably a debate that we've moved past in society.
Well, of course, when the issue is settled, there's no more need for debate because it's pretty much settled.
But
Well,
I mean, I think that by definition, if there's a lot of Americans that are arguing over a thing that they disagree with, then it probably shows that there's still like a healthy amount of disagreement there that's worth having a debate over. I would say in general.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need to debate. But yeah, somebody comes and tells you that child labor is something good and we should bring it back, then it's a stupid position. That's really, we all agree. Everybody mostly agrees that, except for crazy people, that children should be.
So I have a question, Bobby. Because of like the Constitution, the Constitution.
I could debate that easily. Like, we basically do that anyway. Like, school is basically worse because you're being put in a room and forced to learn, and you don't even get paid for it. You're forced to sit in a room and listen to something. It's not even something you chose or are interested in. I mean, I'm not saying that, back in the day, child labour was something that people chose and was interesting, but why can't we imagine a world in which 10-year-olds have some kind of productive life instead of sat in a classroom, bored to death, basically with a jumped-up babysitter? That's essentially what most of schooling is for most people. It's just, somewhere to send your kids while you go to work. So I think it's quite, just because not, and why just because, why should only there has to be like X number of people having a debate for it to be a legitimate debate or something that we care about? It's like, it's just ridiculous. It's like, this is democratic thinking. It's just like majority rule bullshit. If I don't have a debate about something, I can have a debate about it. Instead, what do we get when we have debates based on what the majority of people want to debate? We end up with just talking about trans issues all the time, or climate change, or all this bullshit that everybody talks about over and over and over again, and that's because the majority are deciding that that's interesting for some reason. It's not. It's not interesting. Like woke, like it's so bored with it.
Blah, 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 we think it's been passed in court. You don't think gay marriage is up to debate right now, or?
I think, and if you read Scalia's dissent on that decision, he makes some very compelling points as to why that should have been debated more. And he felt that it was rammed through, and he didn't think that it was up to, this is a few of the things I said that I remember. And he said it really isn't for 9 Ivy League educated lawyers to make such an important decision. It should be debated and discussed a lot more before you make a decision. And it should be on a law. It shouldn't be like the Supreme Court deciding what the law is. So in that sense, I totally agree with Scalia. Now, as I told you many times before, I got to be consistent with my beliefs. So if the Supreme Court decided it was such, then I have to live by it, and it's settled. And I wouldn't want it to be overturned later on because
that was a contradiction.
Whatever. That doesn't.
Shouldn't be the decision shouldn't be made by the Supreme Court, but I have to stand by my principle. But your principle was that you don't think that's the case. Like, who are these people?
Women get married. My original beef was more as a respect for religion, which you don't have to agree with, but people wanting to change the definition to be included in something that they really don't fucking believe in. And I may be wrong, whatever, but that's how I see it. But now that it's settled, it's moot. So and it's not like that's another thing that's been missing. In the current times is the I can disagree with you, but nothing else changes. Now it's like you disagree with me, you're a monster, you're the end of you, whatever, because we don't agree on that one issue, and that's hysterical. It's stupid, it's childish, it's immature. It's like no, we're not going to agree on a lot of things, but we're going to agree on a lot more important things. And the fact that we didn't agree in that gay marriage point, which is now moot, didn't make me a bad person or didn't make me a bad father or anything like that. It's just like I saw things differently.
Do you ever feel like there's or how would you define somebody that you think is, I guess, worth talking to?
An idiot.
I guess, yeah, use your destiny. Like, when do you decide someone is like either bad faith or even too far gone, if there's such a thing?
I mean, like, if there's going to be like some really fundamental moral disagreement, then it's probably going to be around that. It's going to be over some really fundamental moral things, I would say. But like, if somebody's trying to argue like women don't deserve like, the same rights as men or something, I imagine it's probably going to be really hard for us to ever find common ground. But yeah, I mean, it would depend on the issue, I guess.
Do you feel like there's a similar line when it comes to people like Fuentes, or you're not sure, or do you?
I wouldn't talk to them like that. It's wasting time. Or maybe if, and you're the one that told me that, I think, if you're going to expose this idiocy in front of all his followers, then
Yeah, I mean, I would say that somebody like Fuentes, because they're illiberal, is somebody that has like a fundamental incompatibility with my belief system. I mean, like you said, I think everything should be argued and debated. I think it's fine to debate like fascism or communism or whatever, because you should be able to defend liberal ideas. But I mean, it would be at some point like a political party that represents Fuentes' interests would be very, very, very hard to be compatible with my ideals of how democracy works, because they're fundamentally illiberal people. I think it's a hard one.
So I guess when it comes to people like that, you just dissuade them. We're not dissuading them. There's no reason trying to find a middle ground with people like that, right? Because fundamentally they'll.
They're ideologues, and you have them on the right and you have them on the left. So you choose when to engage with them, but most of the time you won't engage with them.
So, but what I'm asking is, we're talking about center, finding the center, et cetera, but you would agree, or maybe you don't agree with me, that when it comes to certain ideologues, there's no point in trying to find a center, because...
Well, like I don't think you can find a center between like liberal and illiberal. Like you either believe in like democracy or liberalism, or you don't. Like there's not gonna be much of a center position to be found there, I don't think. I mean, I think it's still worth like arguing or debating, but you're not gonna agree fundamentally on anything, right?
So let's, because you're talking liberal and illiberal. So do you see a difference between liberal and progressive?
Yeah, sorry, when I say liberal here, I mean like property rights and like voting democratically and like freedom of speech. That's what I mean when I say liberal, broadly speaking. In the American context, like liberal versus conservative, yeah, there's a difference between liberal and progressive, sure. I don't know if many progressives anymore are liberal, I'm not sure, because a lot of them are farther left than that.
How progressive are you, Andy?
I just generally progressive. I don't know how else to say that.
What does that mean?
Andy's super progressive. She doesn't believe in capitalism.
What? That's not true. Who told you that?
I don't believe you. You're a commie. I know you are. You're a commie. Absolutely you are.
Oh, okay, wait, no, I'm defending myself right here. I've said multiple times on stream, and I will continue saying it. I don't think a for-profit motive is inherently evil. I just don't think everything is most optimally designed when it comes to corporate. I think there's certain industries that should not be for-profit. So what does that mean? I think when the idea of what the industry is supposed to do or accomplish goes against direct conflict with profit, then it probably should not have a for-profit motive. So healthcare, for example, if you have that as a main motivation, then people are incentivized to not give you the healthcare that you need or the healthcare that you want, if it means that they get a bigger bag at the end of the day. So I don't think a healthcare system should be for-profit. Similar with jelly.
Loads of healthcare systems that are under profit that work.
The problem with your healthcare thing is that for it to work, you depend on people that go through a 15-20 year education to get paid and to make money. So you're gonna have to pay them money, and it's profit incentive where doctors are they want to save lives and everything, but they also want to make money. And you're saying, healthcare is alright, whatever, whatnot. We're gonna make a system that's not for profit. So these doctors, they don't have, they're not gonna get paid what they should get paid. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to.
There's a couple of things here. You can pay people a salary, and that still doesn't make your organization or the system as a whole for profit, right? So when I'm complaining about for profit, I'm not saying people want salaries. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that like health insurance companies or hospitals are incentivized to basically raise the price as much as they can because they're not actually caring about your health. They're caring about their money.
Okay, that's and here's where I agree with you to a little extent. It's insurance companies gaining the system. And that's where you run into all these problems with hospitals raising costs and all that shit. So instead of making bringing in the government to control everything and to try to make it work, which never happens, and you cannot give me an example of government doing something anything successful.
What about USPS?
The post office?
Yeah.
It sucks.
What do you mean?
They're in deficit, operational deficit all the time.
Have you seen like how much?
Well, So instead of bringing the government to fix everything, which they never do, why don't you try to rein in the corruption with insurance companies that are fucking everything up? And you can still have a profitable system and with doctors get paid and everything. Because the bureaucracy is really what's killing the health insurance.
I mean, there's a lot to say here, but long story short,
I'm ready to go.
No, because I'm thinking like even when it comes to like for-profit motives, like you still have to rein in hospitals as well because they also private hospitals have an incentive to still like jack up prices when it comes to like your care.
See, but, a lot of those jacked prices have to do with insurance companies not paying them.
Yeah, no, it's like a terrible little cycle sometimes. Where both insurances and like private hospitals are incentivized to jack up the price.
You have non-profit hospitals that make money, so yeah.
Well, yeah, they're making. The question is making this money getting in the way of giving people proper treatment? And when literally depriving people from a proper treatment can raise your profit motive, that's when things get like ethically complicated. And that's why I think we should have things like public option available because there's a lot of reasons why we should have public option available. But for one, it basically undercuts like private insurance or it forces them to basically like lower the amount they're offering for people in general because now we have a competitor everywhere. You don't agree with me?
I kind of lost you there.
Okay. If we're talking about reining in profit motives, if you have a public...
That's the thing. I don't want to rein in profit.
But you agree that the profit motives...
I want to rein in health insurance companies that are gaining the system. That's what I want to rein in. And we live in a capitalist society.
Why are they gaining the system?
Because of corrupt politicians and...
But why are they going through all of this? Why are they going through corrupt politicians? Why are they doing all this? Because they want money. Because they want to increase their profit.
So rein them in. Don't throw a grenade into the whole system.
Well, I'm not saying we should throw a grenade into the
system.
system.
You're saying the government should take over and run everything.
Well, I'm saying that we should like work towards that. I'm not saying like, oh, tomorrow the government should take over everything.
And the government doesn't work.
Oh, that's where we disagree fundamentally.
What do you think that's in?
I mean, I agreed with what Pixie says, broadly speaking, about when the government should step in. I don't necessarily know if it's the best of ideas in healthcare. I think that the government has a lot of the same problems that healthcare, or I'm sorry, that private corporations have. Like, people seem to shit on the government because it's like a big bureaucracy, et cetera, et cetera. But if you work for a large company, large companies can be very bureaucratic as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think that sometimes there can be external forces that make it so that it's really hard for a company to act in the best interest of a citizen. So this is especially true about things like pollution because you don't get penalized for polluting unless the government does it. And I think in those cases it's okay for the government to step in. Or when it's like a geographic monopoly, right? We can have 20 different companies providing power or plumbing to like houses because you don't run the infrastructure or whatever. So I think in that case it's okay. For healthcare, I don't know if the government's the answer, but
yeah.
Right. Do you believe in public option or healthcare?
I like the concept of public option, but I don't agree with the idea that like there's a disincentive to help somebody over like a life-saving source. Because like technically, like something that is really important to us, that's vital for all of us to survive, is food. And I think the free market provides like really well when it comes to food. Like we've got tons of food at tons of grocery stores, and that's like a life essential thing. We seem to do that pretty well. Same thing with like clothes. So yeah, I don't know. But it seems like for healthcare, some type of government intervention is important because every European country has it, and it seems to work better for them than it does for us. So.
I think I despise. I think I despise the government coming in to trying to fix things because at the end of the day, it's the best of intentions, and they always seem to fuck it up along the way. And it happens basically with everything the government comes in.
Well, what about like when we look at like Social Security? I think the government handles that pretty well, no?
Is it? Yeah, but it's not enough money for the people that when they're old, it's not enough.
Sure. I mean, we can argue if it's not enough or not. I mean, Social Security works pretty well, right? Everybody's under the system. The payouts are pretty consistent. Like, seems like that's like a really effective program. I'd say Medicare is a pretty effective program as well. Medicare, Medicaid.
The government's good at giving money.
These programs and these entitlement programs,
giving money and collecting
they're running out of money, and they got to be funded and all that shit. It's not self-sufficient, or people putting money into Social Security to then get paid when they retire, it's not enough.
I mean, people have been saying Social Security's running money forever, but I don't think that's true. I think people have been saying this for decades. Like, the U.S. government always fund these programs we need to when if it like comes down to like dire.
So if the government needs to keep funding it, then it's really not working because the whole idea behind it was you give money to the government and then when you retire the government gives it back to you.
Yeah.
Then as generations go by they keep feeding the system and everything, but now it's like there's not enough money and the government needs to come in and fund it. So I don't think it works. It's not mostly I don't think it's efficient. But
I think it's pretty efficient. Money goes into the system and it comes out and it's given to people, right? Like let's say if you want to be critical of Social Security, that's fine. But like, can you give me a private program that works anywhere near as efficiently as Social Security does when it comes to dispersing that much money to that many different people?
Well, that's the thing. I think it should go to the individual. Mind you, I don't mind Social Security existing, and I think it would be stupid to blow it up. But I'll say if you let me take care of my money instead of giving it to you, Social Security, I think I'll do a much better job.
Do you really think so, though?
I can prove it.
Well, so here's what I'm curious thing. Can you tell me what line of work you're in?
I'm in real estate.
Okay, fuck. I don't know what happens in real estate with down payments, but like, I guess the most interesting thing when it comes to people managing their own money is every like retail industry I've ever worked in, like your best days are the end of April because as soon as people get tax refunds, first thing they do is they blow the money 100% on some big purchase. Everybody does that. Yeah, I don't know if the real estate has with down payments or whatever, but I feel like left to their own devices, people aren't really incentivized to save for the long term. They just don't think that way generally. So having like some sort of mandatory government program where it's like, listen, you might not like it, but we're gonna put away this money for you, and then when you retire, you get it. I think it's probably better than just leaving everybody to their own devices. I think.
And I agree, and it's economic fact. When times are good and everything, people don't save. But going back to your point, I think at the end of the day, it should be something where, okay, I'll play the game, I'll give to Social Security, but give me some options or some parameters where I can take care of that money and let me invest it for myself and some sort of structure. And this is another thing that I've spoken with Andy. And yes, entitlement programs for a wealthy society are good. Not everything should be like socialist entitlement programs, but something like Social Security Maker, yes, I agree, and it's okay to have them. But I think they could be a lot more efficient. And I was going to go back to the example. My mother's just turned 91. Social Security, and I tell you that is not enough. Her Social Security payment is not enough.
Well, yeah, but she gets Social Security and Medicare, though, right? To cover medical treatments as well?
Well, Puerto Rico, it's a bit different.
Oh, never mind. Well, everything I'm saying doesn't apply to Puerto Rico. You guys are fucked, because you guys have to pay into a lot of US stuff, and I don't even think the vote anything, right? So I can't speak directly, I guess, to how it works in Puerto Rico. Does Medicare and everything not apply to people in Puerto Rico? Do you not get access to that, or?
You don't get parity funds. So we get less than, in terms of Medicare, we get less than like if she moved to the States, it would be different.
Okay, interesting, gotcha.
But like her, I know other people in the main, I have an aunt that lives in the US, her Social Security is not. And Medicare and all that is not enough.
Sure, so, it might not be enough, but like, imagine their lives without Social Security or Medicare. Like, if it's hard to get by with Social Security without it, they'd be what, like homeless? Like, it would be over.
Yeah, no, totally agree. But the idea behind it is, we're arguing if it's an efficient program or not. My definition of efficient would be, hey, you put in all this money when you worked, and now you retire and you can live off the Social Security. And
I mean, when I think of efficient, I think of like, for me, efficiency means how much money is spent on the thing itself versus how much is lost to like bureaucratic costs. That's what I'm thinking. So I think Social Security is really effective because the bureaucratic costs are pretty low because the government has all of your information anyway. All they have to do is like mail it out to whatever just they have on file for like IRS. So that's why I consider Social Security to be like a pretty efficient program. And I can't think of anything in the private sector. Like, if there was something competing with Social Security where it's like, this works.
So efficiency's that as opposed to I put in X amount of money, but because of inflation, because of government, mismanaging the economy, you end up with your money worth less and the price of everything increasing and gas bills going through the roof. Yeah, super efficient in how they give it out and take it from you, but not very good at managing the economy, which determines how much that is worth to you when you retire.
So well, I wish we'd stop wasting money on Social Security to do this. I think I'd be warmer to the idea. Like, oh yeah, let's just do that. But I don't see anything in the private sector that is even close to covering like how much Social Security does.
I mean, it's impossible to see. You're talking about private sector who, they're not gonna. I don't see.
Talking about private sector doesn't exist because
it's the private sector to manage
allowed to exist.
People that have low-paying jobs or medium-paying jobs.
Yeah, but isn't that just an argument for Social Security then? Like the government can step in and manage some things that the private sector wouldn't want to manage.
Oh, it's starting to go in circles. Yes, I totally agree. But again, yes, that system works for the mid-low-income earners, but fairly work for somebody like me or
But the idea, I think, what we're kind of getting at here is that we agree that Social Security works in better than private option because private option doesn't really exist and it doesn't seem like there's any way to really compete. But if the government can efficiently do Social Security, not saying that there's not room for it to improve, but if the government can efficiently do this one thing, it seems like by logical extension of that, the government should theoretically be able to handle other things than just saying like, oh no, the government can't handle it.
Should that doesn't make sense. That so you have Social Security, you have these entitlement programs.
Hang on, right? There are insurance companies that do life insurance so that when you die, you'll leave money to your loved ones. Why isn't there like a retirement insurance company? Surely that could exist. Why doesn't that exist? Because Social Security exists. Why isn't there an option saying, oh, instead of giving it to this money to the government to give back to me, I give it to a company that are going to invest it and turn that into more money so that it keeps it with inflation? How about that?
So then you have education, which is a massive waste of money, and it's not worth it.
I mean, better than not having anybody educated, no?
No, it's what I've always told you. Let the states run it. But you can't have a bureaucratic monster getting all this money, and to Destiny's point, the bureaucracy behind it. How many dollars end up getting to a child? And then you have the teachers in between fucking everything up because they're not looking out for the students, they're looking out for the teachers. So it's a massive clusterfuck of a bureaucratic monster of the federal government that's inefficient, and it doesn't work, and it's a waste of money. And we're getting stupid generations of stupid people.
Isn't this like the most highly educated generation of U.S. people we've had in all history? I mean, they might not like politically aligned, but I don't think. I mean, like, we have schools that people from all over the world come to go to. I think there are some decent parts of the U.S. education system. There's definitely parts that can be improved, but.
I think that definition of the most educated is a very general and broad statement. I think that you see a lot of deficiencies in the school system. I looked at, I forget which city it was. All the schools in this city, in the state, I don't think it was a state, it was a city, it was a big city. like 100% of the public school students failed. I think it was math or a couple subjects. They were gone, flunked. And that's a measure of disaster right there.
Yeah, if that was the case somewhere, I would definitely say that it's not good for sure.
In the end, and I think this is where I get a lot of disagreement with Dixie and when the progressive view of the federal government come in and say that no, it's federal government is going to fuck everything up. You have all that money and you distribute it between the states and then have the states deal with it. I think it's a much more efficient because there's a lot more control and a lot less bureaucracy and you have an efficient running state.
Well, I mean, like, don't the states basically run like K through 12? Do we feel like the states are doing an amazing job of that? Like, I feel like they're more critical of our K through 12 education than our college education. I could be wrong, but that would be my feeling.
They get federal funds. It's administered through the education department. I don't think
but they get.
States have
but the states get to dictate their curriculum and everything, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but the flow of the money is not like the state's control. It's all through the Department of Education, and there's a lot of
give the
laws
money to the kid. Let the kid decide how they'll
follow
spend their
from
money on
the
their
federal
education.
government through dispersed to the states.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's
So just do away with the Department of Education and give that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if they're losing money coming from the federal government, we just take the money away. They're just going to be doing worse, right?
I don't think they would. I think it's like, for example, Florida right now through the Department of Education gets X amount of money. So let's do away with the Department of Education and now they get X amount more because you don't have to pay for all these bureaucrats that work in the federal agency that does nothing. So you have more money and more autonomy to educate and take care of the people in the state.
The idea is that the federal government is oversight, right? So you have states that theoretically.
Well, yeah,
you don't think there are states that theoretically don't value education, or it's not one of their top priorities, and they're willing to.
I'm sorry?
Do you think that there are any states where education might not be a priority, and instead of focusing on funding in those places, you don't think that they might misappropriate or misdirect funds without any oversight?
If they're not spending it on education, what they're going to spend it on? Crime, health, roads. Like, these are the things. What they're going to spend it on? Golf courses. Also, who doesn't care about education? Like, what? Stupid.
Cynical self will tell you that no state cares as long as they have those teacher unions controlling everything that happens.
But obviously,
like the shutdowns. It was because of the teachers' unions that all these kids had to wear masks and got the school shut down and all that, and that's child abuse.
You think wearing the mask is child abuse?
Yes. Number one, because they don't work, and number two, because kids are at the lowest risk of dying from COVID.
Well, like, wait, hold on, wait, just a couple things. The teachers' unions didn't want. I don't think they wanted children to wear masks to protect the children. They were worried about them getting sick. I think that was the scary thing for teachers. Especially because a lot of teachers can be older, right? But I think that when we see like the teachers' unions don't care about the kids, they just care about teachers. Like, that's probably true, but that's what a union is supposed to do, right? The unions are there to advocate for the children. That's the federal government's job. The unions are to advocate for the workers that belong to the union, right? You wouldn't want the unions to be working for the kids. The unions are supposed to be there to protect the teachers, right? Like, police unions don't exist to protect people that get arrested by the police. They're there to protect cops because that's their job, right?
Of course, that's a bit different. But with the teachers' unions, and that's where you have the problem with, as happens with other industries, is that you have a very powerful entity that gets a lot of money and has a very big sway over policy because they're a powerful entity with a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, like, would you get rid of like all unions, or do you think all unions are bad? Because I mean, every union, like police union, at least from what I remember from my city, like police unions and firefighter unions are basically determining elections. Like, if you don't have the support of your special services, you're like fuck for emergency services.
I think to a large extent, because of labor laws or new labor laws, I think unions have outworn or outdated their usefulness, and right now they're just like powerful lobby group. And if you go back, unions started because of horrible employer conditions and no rights and shit like that, and it was evolving, and it did a lot of good at the beginning because people started getting like employee rights and stuff like that. So in that sense, laborers were very useful. Now they're just powerful lobby groups, and they're just like any other like the health insurance companies, their lobby group.
Yeah, but like if health insurance and everybody else can have lobby groups and workers, isn't that kind of the point? Like, I feel like corporations are making so much money today. Don't we want labor to be represented?
Again, I don't think health. I think lobbying is a very corrupt system, and I don't think that you should have entities with so much power influencing government in that way. And I have no idea how to fix it. But people should start. We should start talking about how to rein in these special interest groups, because they're making shit happen, and it's not for the better. And there you have insurance companies setting policy on how it works, and it's not working, but they're making a lot of money. And then you have teachers unions doing the same thing, just holding sway over what decisions are made in terms of children's education, and it's not helping any. So I think that in that sense, I don't like lobbyists, and I don't like special interest groups. They don't do any good except promote what they're getting paid for. When you have something that's too powerful, it's not good.
Sure.
Be it, federal government, which is incredibly powerful right now.
I mean, corporations and workers are incredibly powerful too, right? Depending on what you're talking about, right? Like the labor union for teachers is very powerful against the federal government when it comes to negotiating like teacher stuff, right?
Yeah, but I think that they'd be covered by labor laws. What else do they need protection from?
Well, I mean, labor laws aren't going to help you negotiate like a better wage with an employer, right? As long as they're not like literally enslaving you, it's not like they have any incentive to pay you more or pay you better.
I guess you could form a group and try to get a better wage. But then when you have mandatory union membership and all that shit, and then everybody has to pay, even if they don't agree, and then politics, and senators and stuff, and donating money to campaigns, that's when it goes all to shit. But if it's a union that's just really going to fight for the rights of the workers and not get into politics, then I don't have a problem at all with it.
I mean, necessarily you're going to be political if you're a union, right? You have to probably have some kind of political position, something, I imagine, right?
Yeah, but your interest should be the well-being of your teachers. So that is something that's direct with the employer, which are the schools. But when you start going into the federal government and try to manipulate policy and stuff, then you're not being a teachers union. You're getting into politics.
I mean, arguably all workers' rights has to do with politics, but
no, better wage politics. It's better pay.
Who's just trying?
Someone joined?
Yeah, I heard it. Who was it?
I don't know.
Hold on. Why don't you fuckers say who joined? I asked who joined. You want to click over? Oh, Dees. Okay.
Dees, yeah, hold on.
This guy, gotcha.
Okay.
Well, it was my monitor. The sound was taking my monitor. Switch.
Oh, hey, well, what's up?
Okay.
Your monitor.
Do you believe in lobbyists, Destiny?
Yeah, of course.
That's something you guys disagree on.
I mean, I think you have a right to have like your voice heard in front of the government, and sometimes some of the issues are too complicated for politicians to sort through on their own. So I feel like there's a legitimate place there for companies to have representation, saying like, hey, like I want to talk to you about this particular issue that I think is important, and this is my pitch for it essentially. I think companies should be able to do that, especially on complicated issues.
I just think that the system is totally abused and it doesn't work right now. So we need something. It needs to be fixed somehow, and I don't have the answer for it. But the way it's done now, it sucks. Because at the end of the day, the average Joe is the one that gets screwed.
Maybe, I mean, I guess it depends on what the lobbyists are lobbying for. I feel like the issue really isn't with lobbyists. I feel like the issue is people just don't like sometimes what's being lobbied for. Like, arguably, climate change stuff should help the average person, but not everybody feels that way, right? So a climate change lobbyist might be like, oh, we're advocating for the common citizen, but if you're really anti-climate change, then you might think like, well, no, they're not. That's just like another form of corruption, kind of, right? So I feel like the issue isn't always with lobbyists. I feel like we're lobbying in general, like ideologically. I feel like sometimes the issue is just that people don't like what's being lobbied for.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, there's a lot here that you said. What the like climate change, and I'm all for green energy, and I like green. But when you start lobbying to make policy, to make changes that are unreasonable, just in the name of scaring people that the world is ending because of climate change, that really sucks. And that's bad, and it's corrupt, and nothing good comes out of that. And that's what's happening now with the climate change. Oh, you're anti-climate change, you're a lunatic, and you don't believe in it, crazy. And I argue it's become a religion for many. And if you don't believe in climate change, you're a heathen, and all that crap. And it's crazy. There's a lot of
there might be some people that legitimately believe in that, right? And we believe in freedom of speech. It's their right to advocate for that issue in front of the government to be heard and have been petitioning the government for. Yeah.
Yeah. But then they start influencing policy that's going to affect me because they're a powerful special interest, and then you have these politicians that are benefiting from shit that won't affect them but will affect me.
Yeah, but I mean that's all of everything you advocate for is going to be advocating for policies at the end of the day, right? Like you don't have freedom of speech if you're not allowed to advocate for policies. Policies are the whole reason why we advocate for anything, right?
Yes, and we go back to what I said a few minutes ago. All that's good, but when you have too many powerful or too powerful, and it gets corrupt, and then everything goes to shit. So it's okay to lobby and try to get what you would like to be done. But when it gets to a point that it's an abuse of the system, it doesn't work.
Sure,
like,
I agree. Yeah, I'm just not sure what we define as like abuse of the system.
It's like, okay, so now we're gonna kill coal because we need green energy. So we're gonna obliterate an industry and fuck all, like learn to code is what one of these idiots said. You have all these coal miners that are out of jobs and everything because now we're gonna go green, and we're not ready for green. So it's like it's so fucked up what's happening with energy. And at the end of the day, it's higher energy prices and coal's gone. It doesn't work. Like all these solar panels and windmills and everything, it's not enough. They freeze. Like it happened in Texas, in California, having power shutdowns because the grid, there's not enough green energy for it. So there's a lot of examples. And it's like, so why the hell? Or more recently, we're going to stop being energy independent, and we're going to ask Venezuela and Saudi Arabia for dirtier oil because we won't produce.
So a couple things. Firstly, I don't know if oil is dirtier than coal. My understanding is coal is like literally the worst form of power I think that can ever exist. I think coal is way better than oil. Number one. Number two.
In the name of green energy, shit that they're doing, they're killing industries and they're making energy more expensive for us because of green energy. And the irony of it all with Biden is that he's wanting to buy coal from Venezuela, which is oil from Venezuela, which is really dirty, and he's going to Saudi Arabia to try to convince them to not raise prices, which is absurd because all he has to do is let's do what we were doing to be energy independent, and we're fracking and we're doing other shit. And it worked.
Yeah, I think that so here's like a big problem we criticize. Like, I think that there are valid criticisms that we can make of how aggressively we push alternative energy in the United States. I think you can make those valid criticisms. But on the other hand, if we would have listened to people saying like, oh no, we're not ready for green energy, we can't push this that hard, we need to stay with fossil fuels forever, we wouldn't have companies like Tesla, right? Like Tesla probably exists almost solely off the backs of those energy credits that we get for buying electric cars, right? So that's a whole industry and a whole innovative thing that came out of the United States from beloved U.S. inventor Elon Musk. It probably only happened because we had the positions on climate change and on pushing renewables that we did. So I mean, like, I don't think it's always perfect. I agree with that. But I think there are times where it's like massively beneficial that we did, push as aggressively for alternative energies as we have. And other countries that we always say are doing better than the United States because they're more aggressive, like China, are making even bigger investments into renewables than we are.
But this is the thing. You don't kill an industry that provides a shit ton of jobs, and you don't go buy dirtier oil to get there, to get that green energy that you want. And Elon Musk, well, he's getting tax credits and he's getting a lot of incentive to create the Tesla car, but no industry is being killed for him to advance with what he created.
I mean, the whole automobile industry theoretically is threatened by electric vehicles, no? Like, those are people that are going to lose their jobs. Those are he's trying to do that selling directly to citizens instead of going to car dealerships. Everybody that works at car dealerships are going to lose their jobs. The reason I don't like the model that Tesla's going for, right?
That's private industry. And it's funny because then the car lobby is like, no, you need to go through a dealer. And he's like, I don't want to go through a dealer. I want to sell direct to the people. Why can't I sell direct to people? So you have the car industry lobby coming in and saying, no, that guy has to sell through a dealer. I guess he got resolved because he's not selling through a dealer. He has his own dealerships.
Yeah, sure. I understand that these are examples of just because we're killing off jobs. I mean, jobs come and go in economies. Like, that's just how it works, right? Like, you can't hold on to every single job forever. Like, there are going to be industries, there are going to be people that do fossil fuels that are going to be phased out who aren't just going to have a place in the economy. But I mean, there are people that were really good at mining resources with their hands, and now we have machines for it. Or people that were really good at working in offices, and now we've got computers that do a lot of that work. So I mean, that's just the nature of an ever-evolving and adapting economy, I think.
Yeah, but it's I think the comparison is wrong. Again, for Elon to create his car, no industry was killed. And he was able, he got the government incentives, he created the car and everything. Then he got into a fight with the car dealers, the car industry, because he wanted to go direct to consumer. So you have that. But then to have a government say, you know what, we need those solar panels now, so let's fucking kill coal, and no more coal because we need the solar panels now. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
So you say that isn't every single electric car sold harming the automobile industry? Like every single electric car sold by Elon Musk is a car.
No, it's
oh my god, that's
people don't. You have the power to choose.
I know, but I'm saying like if you're a traditional car maker,
there's a massive difference between the government making policy which kills an industry overnight versus someone slowly innovating an industry so that another industry can either adapt and go with it or stay in the same place and go bust. And that's because they would have made a choice, not because the government said, you have to do this now. It's the same, like in London, they have the congestion charge. Basically, some people can't afford to pay it, and they're like livelihood depends on them being able to use their car in the city because they use it, I don't know, to get from jobs. Like there's like painters, they're like carrying their paint and brushes and shit on the tube because they can't afford the congestion charge because of something the government decided to do in the name of the green policy. It's that we're talking about. So comparing that to like Tesla shaking up an industry versus killing industry and people's livelihoods because of your stupid lack of foresight, they're completely incomparable situations. So jobs changes over time. Yeah, but when in history has things changed on such with such speed? It'd be like, oh, I can't do my dad's job anymore. Now it's like, I can't do the job I did 10 years ago. Next it'll be, oh, the job I had last week has been made obsolete because AI has taken over. We can't just keep saying, oh, this always happens.
Manufacturer, then
You innovate.
What?
You innovate or you lose.
Well, yeah, but what about then for coal miners? Isn't that the same argument? You're going to lose? Because the only reason Elon was able to sell so many cars initially was because the government helped them. The government said, hey, if you go buy an electric car, you get, what is it, like a $4,000 tax credit or something for buying electric cars? Like, if you were a traditional car manufacturer, you'd probably be using the same argument. So, well, this is bullshit. Like, you're phasing out our jobs, you're hurting our production because the government's here doing this huge push towards Elon Musk's electric vehicles that aren't even really competitive with us yet, right? But as a result of that, now we've got arguably the most successful electric vehicle manufacturer in the world because the government pushes so much, even though there are some downsides. So, I mean.
Yeah, but for your argument to be valid, it would have to be the government saying, car manufacturers, we're going electric. So either you manufacture an electric car or you don't manufacture any more cars. Because this guy in a few years is going to be coming in with a bunch of electric cars. And this is the future. So no more gas cars, electric cars. Because that's now you're making a more valid comparison with what happened with the coal industry. We need solar panels, not innovate, nothing. Just you're done. No more coal. Done. And that's correct. That's like a swift kill of a shit ton of jobs and an industry. And that didn't happen with cars. Because they've had time to innovate and they decide whether they want gas or electric, and you have a choice. Now you don't have a choice with energy because you don't have a choice for coal.
Yes, I fucking predict. Well, I said it first.
Obama killed it. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's not the same.
Okay. I think we're going to live on this one.
Yep.
Take the L, Destiny.
I think the irony of it all too is that there's not enough lithium to power all the batteries that we need for all the cars, and lithium mining is super dirty.
I mean, sure, we seem to be inventing new technologies every day to help a lot of these electric vehicles and stuff. So.
That's where we worry about climate change and all that crap, and you know, that's not acceptable. So we'll get it done eventually.
I mean, even with the pollution created by mining the lithium for batteries, it's still way better for the environment than having a little mini like oil power plant inside every single vehicle, right?
But that's the other thing is that what's powering all these batteries? It's electricity, and where the electricity is coming from, oil, and you know, there's not enough green energy to power all the cars.
Not yet, but again, it's going to be way better powering a car with central power plants rather than having a mini power plant in every single car, which is what combustion is.
Nostradamus.
Yeah, I love electric cars, and I'll get one eventually. But you know, all this talk about it's green and all that might be the future, but right now, you know, who never believes that electric car is green. Nah,
I mean, they're greener than combustion engine cars right now.
No, they're not.
I haven't done the math, but you know, what it took to create that electric car is you know, how does that compare with the combustion engine?
I think it's like after you've driven an electric car like 2,000 miles or something. It's a very low amount. Like you've already basically saved more in the environment than for a combustion engine car.
Says who? Elon Musk.
You're taking into account
all the lithium mining for batteries, all the creation of advanced technologies, all the harvesting. Yeah, it's for sure. Again, you just have to imagine like having a mini power plant on a little vehicle is going to be so much more disastrous when it comes to pollution than powering things with central power plants located like a massive like scalable infrastructure like power grids, right?
You know, I don't know
when it breaks down in the middle of nowhere, there's no power.
Cars are not that dirty.
Cars are really dirty. Cars are really dirty.
They were really dirty before federal emission controls took hold.
Another thing the government did good. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but it's not.
That's another thing you focus on.
That's a law that was passed. Like, you know, you cannot pollute, and you need to put all these converters in your car and all that shit, so they don't pollute.
Which I'm pretty sure the government like regulates.
But that's not an agency that was created to.
I'm pretty sure there's an agency.
It's part of the EPA.
Yeah. It's a federal agency. The government. Okay.
Yeah, we're
I think we're done.
You want to take me out?
I'm gonna kick you out.
That's really great talking to you. I told Andy, you know, whenever you're near Swab here, talking to him.
Yeah, sure. I think you guys are pretty close sometime.
Yeah, we're close. And you can go. I don't want to say anything.
Okay, you already saw me. Okay.
Huh?
Hey, Bobby.
All right, Destiny, take care.
Yeah, have a good one.
Before I leave, I have a question for you, Destiny.
Yeah, what's up?
What gave you the impression that I was a communist?
I know you're a communist. Listen, you're denying it now, but that's okay. It's alright, I'm not going to judge you, okay?
No, you're fucking. Because I'm pretty sure I said this explicitly multiple times.
You might not be, okay? Do what? Say that again, sorry.
I'm hiding my power level or some shit.
Man, I don't know. Do you guys think Pixie's a communist? I don't know. Maybe you're not.
No, I'm offended. Because I said, do you disagree with anything I said about the for-profit motive? Or how do you define communism? Or like,
no, I think I agree with everything you say, but maybe I'm just, it feels like all progressives these days have to be like fucking Marxists or like socialists. Like that seems to be almost a requirement, but you know, maybe you're not, I guess.
Did you label yourself as progressive earlier and you're not a Marxist?
Yeah, but it's hard to label myself as progressive because everybody is. Like literally a fucking socialist.
Do you think AOC is a Marxist or?
I think she is, yeah. She doesn't advocate for it, obviously. She's still a lot since she's gotten into Congress, but.
Okay, this is gonna sound like a dumb question, or maybe it is. How do you define Marxism, or what's a Marxist to you?
Somebody that doesn't believe in liberalism.
Somebody doesn't believe in liberalism.